This is the smell of the leftover tuna fish sandwich you left in your lunchbox over the weekend in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech! And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Ah, smell the difference? Hefty Ultra Strong has Arm & Hammer with continuous odor control, so no matter what's inside your trash, you can stay one step ahead of stinky. And for bigger jobs, try the superior strength of Hefty Large Black Bags.
Hello, and welcome to Yeah, We Read It. I'm one of your hosts, Maggie.
And I'm your other host, Laura.
And today we are talking about the 9th Clique series book, P.S. I Loathe You. We are coming off of book 8, Sealed with a Diss.
Nope, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's. They
all start
blurring.
to blend together. Oh my god.
I know. And we are super excited about this one because we finally have two characters fleshed out that we never see.
That's right, listeners. If you've been listening to us this entire time, we've been really upset, or I guess just kind of distanced from Kristen and Dylan because they don't have plots, but this book is all about those two people.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. We get background into their life. So let's go off of where we left off at Breakfast at Tiffany's. To sum it up, OCD and the Briarwood Boys school, they're co-ed. And the Briarwood Boys are now in these overflow trailers having school, and the Pretty Committee is back in the main building.
And the Boy Fest is over, so everybody's free to crush on whomever.
It's frickin' Boy Fest season.
It's P.S. I Loathe You season. Am I right? Am I right?
In Real World, we have cuffing season. In Clique series, we have Boy Fest season.
Yeah, Boy Fest season.
And if you're gay, I guess get fucked.
Well, if you're gay, it could always be Boy Fest season.
Oh.
Year round.
That's a thought.
Depending on which way your dice roll.
Yeah. This is true. I guess lesbians don't exist in this universe. Not
yet, they don't.
Yeah. True.
Okay, so let's start with this book. So the first page opens as there's a bird infestation in the parking lot of OCD.
Yeah.
Hilarious to me.
Pigeons are a subplot in this.
My favorite description of this is it's in the first paragraph of the first page. The pigeons are described as having flapping wings like the snap of a magician's cape. That's my favorite simile I've ever read in a book. Comparing something to a magician's cape.
This subplot carries throughout the entire book in small
doses,
subtle ways, and it's so absurd.
It's stupid, but I'm not mad at it.
So the pigeons are attracted to all of the food in the dumpsters from the overflow trailers, because there's a hell of a lot of kids here now.
Yeah.
And they keep shitting all over the parking lot. That's essentially what it is. So the girls are just trying to get into the school without getting shit on.
Yeah, and that's it. But they also want to get to the trailers so they can flirt with the boys.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. And
I have to say, I think Massie, this is one of her worst books.
Honestly,
she's fucking mean.
God, Massie, Massie is constantly my least favorite person. And I honestly feel like Lacey realizes that and kind of gives into that Massie is the worst. And that's why I feel like we start getting plots for other people.
Yeah.
Because this kind of reminds me of, like, when you're growing up, you don't really know how to set boundaries with friends, and you don't really understand when people are just truly not good and healthy in your life. And I feel like this like series kind of transitions into like that phase of young adulthood, which is an interesting read into maybe an interpretation of the Clique series.
I commend Claire in the beginning for setting boundaries, but then she meets Cam and loses all of them.
I like when so Claire has stopped carpooling with them so she can double with Cam on his bike, and then Claire and Cam wheel up to them, and on page 11 it says, "But because Claire was her friend and clearly way happier than Massie was, Massie wanted to knock them both to the ground." And that's just constantly, I think we're reminded that Massie doesn't really have any redeeming qualities.
No, and she also comes in really hot. She's been classist this whole series, but she comes in so hot in this book.
Really?
Page 3, she is referring to the public school, and she says, "If I want to go to school with trash, I'd be at Abner Doubleday Day." Come on. And she rags on Kristen this whole book.
So fucking, like, even when, like, so a big plot point, Kristen's plot point in this book, listeners, is that we find out during the summer series, Kristen became best friends with Lane, but she needs to keep her best friendship with Massie, and Kristen's somehow gotten sucked into both of them having crushes on Dempsey, and they're both relying on Kristen for some stupid-ass reason to lock in the Dempsey having a crush on either of them. So Kristen's in the middle of something that she should not be in the middle of.
She is in the Pretty Committee, and she is also in the Witty Committee, which is her and 4 other really smart people in OCD dress up as historians and scholars.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Honestly, I loved that. I would love to read an entire... If the Clique series was written from the Witty Committee's perspective, I would love it. I would fucking love it. But in the beginning, Kristen's kind of trying to wean Massie off of Dempsey because she's like, I just really need to get Lane and Dempsey together. That's all I'm trying to do. Mm-hmm. And Massie gets so upset with Kristen for, like, thinking of reasons to not have a crush on Dempsey that it says... Kristen was her poor friend, not her PR friend. And I'm just like, ow.
Oh, God.
So, Massie's just so, like, Massie's mean and not in a cool way.
Yes. But Massie really gets a taste of her own medicine because her friends are going for what they want this book, and no one goes for it harder than Dylan.
Oh, my God, yes.
So, the setup for Dylan in this book, they initially, like, within the first 30 pages, they go over to the trailers, and Darrington is in a tree, and Dylan is flirting by...
poking his butt with a stick!
And he falls out of the tree, and he rolls his ankle, so he's out of soccer for the season, and they both get detention.
Uh-oh. Do we want to read the End of the Boy Fast poem?
Oh, yes.
We have to. Before we get into anything else... since we read the poem last episode, I think it's only fitting that on page 16, we read The Breaking of the Boy Fast. God, these poems are so stupid.
But she spends an entire class period writing them.
Massie, if it takes you for a class period to write 4 stanzas, I do have some questions.
And we can take 2 minutes to read her magnum opus.
Absolutely. Do you want to go stanza by stanza again?
Sure.
You start.
Okay. We swore off boys for 10 whole days, but it didn't work so well. We acted like backstabbing cliches. Oh my god! Boyfest was hell.
But we forgave one another. Now we're back in the groove. Sisters, lock up your brothers, because we're on the move.
This time we'll do it right. Our friendships come first. PC support day or night, or that member will be cursed.
So I hereby decree, as my open heart gushes, we are now BFFWC, best friends forever with crushes. God, so fucking lame. No wonder Massie sucks so much.
I know. Is this all you can come up with? Let Claire write them. I feel like Claire is a true poet.
Yeah. Or have Kristen get Lane to write them or something.
Exactly. Okay, but I do want to get back to Dylan and
Yes,
Darrington.
we have to. Oh my god, because they're cute.
It is so cute. And honestly, like, she is the most relatable. I think it's because, like, I'm going through a lot of body issues this book, but this one hit.
Well, no, and I wrote that down. Like, this crush we see between Dylan and Darrington, it feels the most relatable because it's like Dylan made a joke and then there's a quote that says, like, she immediately hated herself for, like, trying to be too funny. And I'm just like, I've done that before where you, like, say a joke and you're like, oh my god, was that not funny? What am I doing? It was like, where am I putting my hands right now? Like, when you really like somebody and you don't know if you like them back, you get so nervous.
Especially at that age. So, it starts off really cute. They start sharing earbuds to watch the cars that all the pigeons shout on.
They're listening to Jonas Brothers.
Listening to Jonas Brothers, but Darrington doesn't want people to know. And she is stressed out about it because she really likes him. And it was so sad because on page 31, she talks about how he could never like her, and she says, my days of reaching for the stars are over. From this moment on, she'll just be happy being the kind of girl that guys liked as friends. And I felt that in high school.
I felt that way too. God.
Yeah.
But Darrington's like, and I know we hate the Clique series. Small tangent listeners, has such a way of us making us hate a boy during a book, and then the next book we're like, we kind of like him, because we both hated Darrington last book, and this book we were like, kind of love him, and then we did that with Josh 2 books ago. But anyway, they start texting, and Darrington's putting in an effort, like he's not playing games with her, which I really fucking loved. He was like, you know, there's like, because Dylan's trying to kind of keep her distant because Massie still has a hold on him. Mm-hmm. And Darrington says, like, no, there's a lot of things Massie doesn't know about me. And Dylan goes, like, and he goes, well, my name is Derek, not Darrington. And I wore shorts last winter because I lost a bet and I really like redheads. Yeah. And I loved that. Like, it's just like he wasn't, I loved in this book that Darrington didn't play any games to show Dylan that he cared about her, that he was there for her. And exactly. It was really, really healthy and really, really, I think, rewarding to see.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into it later about the no games, but he, like, the guys, I will say, come in to support these girls against Massie so fucking hard.
Very well.
Oh my god, and I would, like, have killed for someone, like, one of my first boyfriends to, like, not divide your friendships like that, because it is stressful.
It's so stressful.
Yeah. So... she says she's not going to put herself out there. She doesn't want her heart broke. But he invites her to go shopping with him for his sister's Sweet 16.
Which is cute.
So that is on the horizon.
And before we do that, we interject with Kristen's storyline.
Yes.
And we are introduced to Kristen's apartment the first time we've ever been in the Pinewood.
Yep.
And I love when we're introduced to Kristen and her, like, apartment. We meet her Kat Beckham. And I love that we were kind of just realizing that Kristen's like, we're realizing with Kristen in real time that she's realizing her friends suck.
Yes.
And I love that, because it's just like, Kristen's like, had invited her friends over, and Kristen was like, and like, Massie like made fun of her condo because it wasn't a house, and it's just like, and Kristen, all she wants is her crush Dune to come back from his surf trip.
Yeah, she has him taped on his wall.
That's cute.
Very cute.
And then she goes to kick soccer balls on the roof because she's so stressed out between Massie and Lane, kind of making her, like, caught in the middle of their crush. Mm-hmm. And that's when we find out Dempsey Solomon has just moved into the Pinewood with his family.
And why would he move in? Because he has so much money. He moves into an apartment because his family just kind of misses the cozy feeling of Africa. I do gotta say, his storyline being the Africa, I don't know
about it. It's weird. I'm gonna say I don't know about it either.
It is wild how much they push it. Like, when she's angry,
push it a lot.
Kicking the soccer ball, and Dempsey comes in and he's just randomly good at soccer, and she's like, why? And he's like, because I volunteered at an orphanage and
they all taught me how to play.
The orphans taught me how to play.
And I like that Kristen's, everyone thinks Dempsey's so perfect that his big flaw is that his grammar is sometimes incorrect. So sometimes instead of saying, like, instead of saying Meggie and I, he'd say Meggie and me.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh my god.
And they always correct it in their heads.
Yeah.
That was annoying.
Weird. Again, weird.
But during this time, when she is playing soccer with Dempsey, a little bit before that, Lane comes over to her apartment, and we finally realize why she is helping Lane. Because Lane helped her by taking Sky Hamilton away from Dune all summer so that she could go with Dune. So she kind of owes Lane.
She does own Lane. And honestly, she doesn't owe Massie anything.
She doesn't owe Massie anything. So the next day, Darrington did fall out of a tree, and he is out for
He's out for the season. That means there's a spot open on the soccer team. Mm-hmm. We find out that Lane and Dempsey have both gotten leads in The Wizard of Claus, the new fall-winter musical play.
Which we will unfortunately never know about, but we are dying to know about.
But Kristen convinces him to go out for the team, much to, like, Lane's dismay. We have this big scene in the lunchroom where it's obvious that, like, Massie and Lane are, like, eye-fighting each other over Dempsey. I thought that was very fun, I'm going to be honest. But then Massie marks Dempsey by spraying perfume on his hoodie.
Chanel number 19. And the only way that you can break that hold is by her pouring water on a guy.
It was just dumb.
Yep, so she still has a hold on Darrington, too. This is important to know.
This is important to know because Dylan does have a crush on Darrington. And Dylan starts kind of trying to plant seeds to break this hold on Darrington so she can, like, live in a crush plus world.
Exactly.
Bitches.
And she deserves it.
She deserves it.
So Massie quickly switches lanes from being like, I'm going to do art after school to, I'm going to start a cheerleading squad.
Yeah,
because
Dempsey gets on the team.
Dempsey gets on the team because he wanted to try out for soccer to, quote, honor the African orphans.
I was just going to say that too. I'm so glad you wrote that down too. No. Honor the African orphans through soccer. Wow. So then Massie decides to start a soccer cheerleading team called the Sock Hers.
Yep.
kind of gay.
We'll just a moment of silence for that.
A good minute silence for that terrible name to sink in.
For that one really to sink in. And we gotta say that the outfits, I must read these outfits out loud.
Please, Meggie, please.
On page 80. For some reason, they're obsessed with knee-high moccasins in this book. And
they have bells on them.
I don't even understand what that means. I've only seen the slip-on ones that you wear around a kitchen.
Yeah.
So this is what the soccer outfits look like. Of course made by Inez, her housekeeper.
Her housekeeper, of course.
Black sequined off-the-shoulder mini dresses with the soccer spelled in gold stitches letters. And then there's the knee-high moccasins and that are metallic gold with festive bells dangling off the fringes. And to top it all off, a 2-pound hair extension that they have to wear on their ponytails.
And we'll get to this later, but during the game they keep falling off constantly, and I think it's so funny.
It's so funny.
But let's cut to, now that Massie knows that Dempsey lives in Kristen's building, Massie forces Kristen to have that sleepover that she's been suggesting.
Yep. And she's not excited, but now she's finally enamored with the idea that Kristen lives all poor.
Right.
Ooh, fun.
Well, and also, this might be my least favorite thing in the book, is Massie brings her dog unannounced to Kristen's apartment, and Kristen has a cat, and then Massie asks Kristen to take her cat out of her bedroom because she's not chill enough.
That pissed me off.
I was mad. I almost
much.
put the book down. That's how mad I was.
And when you read how much effort Kristen put into this, her mom gives her a $20 budget, and she comes up with a list of 8 different snacks
on
that
$20.
On $20 that are really unique, but kind of high class.
I
reading
love
them,
it.
I was like, this is really sweet.
She wanted, she even put a little bow tie on Beckham because she was like, you could be the new Bean. They're coming. This is so exciting. Kristen was so excited to have these people in her apartment.
Mm-hmm. And Massie just fucking brings Bean.
God, Massie sucks.
What's the point?
So we find out Dempsey quits the play. Then Lane quits the play too because they're quote-unquote best friends, so they have to have cheerleading tryouts.
Yep. Which
is a weird, 4-page chapter. Kind of unimportant.
It is. 80 girls come, and Massie's like, no, we don't have time because we don't have, this can't be a long
And
book.
also, Dune, Kristen's crushes, his younger sister Ripple, who's 9, somehow comes to the audition. I don't know, it was weird.
I know. So they end up picking Lane,
Twizzler,
and
McNugget 1 and 2.
Just McNugget 2. McNugget 1 doesn't get to try out, which I think calling them Chicken McNugget was the meanest nickname I have read from Massie yet.
God, that's so funny. But yeah, Massie thinks if she puts Lane on the team, she can keep her busy while she pursues Dempsey, which doesn't really work.
So Massie, when the squad is picked, is talking logistics to the squad, and she emphasizes that they need LBRs for the bottom of the pyramid. And this is when Alicia and Massie's whole thing, very, very small plot, but they have a little bit of beef, because Alicia, I don't know if you know this, is the dancer. And she is pyramids are so out. Mm-hmm. And it's mostly, Alicia's whole plot line in this book is just flaunting her dance skills.
That's truly all Alicia does this book. She wears her New York Yankees cap a couple times, too, to remind us that her and Josh are still involved.
Her and Josh are still together.
But anyway, we cut to, Kristen. She's, after the tryouts, she goes home. She's in her uniform, and she's like, I need to change, because if my mom sees this, I'm off the squad, which poses a very good question. How can Kristen do the Siren soccer team and this cheerleading team? We'll never know.
I was wondering.
But anyway, she finds a leather cuff from her doorman that says D on it, and she goes, oh, this must be Dempsey's. And then she goes to Dempsey's, and Dempsey's like, wow, Kristen, you look really good in that uniform. And she's like, oh my god, what? And I loved that little exchange so much. But then we find out the cuff belongs to Dune, and he has come back from his trip.
And Kristen is not as enthusiastic as
Kristen's like, oh, Dune, you're here.
I gotta say, once again, I like the guys. I like the guys in the book besides Cam a lot. But Dune had the best introduction because he's sitting cross-legged reading a fucking Silver Surfer comic book.
So fucking funny.
I would wet myself over that guy.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like we never really got justice for Dune in this book, because I feel like he's so fascinating.
And she just, immediately pushes him inside and is like, I need the run-on sentences. Yeah. And she's like, Lane and Massie are fighting over the same guy, and I really need your advice. Yeah. And he's like, and this is when I really decide that I like Dune, is because Kristen brings up immediately, he's like, Lane and Massie like the same guy. I need help. Who should I pick? And he says Massie just likes him because he's trendy. She'll get over it.
Yeah.
You should pick Lane because she's cooler.
A real friend. Yeah. And we love that. We love, like, honestly, Dune's chill.
Dune
like,
is chill.
I love that. I love that about but then, so Kristen has to quit the cheerleading team. And then we spend a couple of pages with a printout of the sock hers rehearsal, which begs the question, don't you need a faculty advisor to start some sort of club or sports organization?
In my high school, I think you did.
Yeah, you absolutely had to, but who knows?
My two favorites on the schedule was that they had a dress rehearsal at a nursing home for, quote, super old people.
Yeah.
And then also Massie, on this insane cheerleading guide, made a note to emphasize she's over pyramids, and if you are really gung-ho for pyramids, let Massie know so she can replace you ASAP.
Yeah, thanks.
Very fun.
Then we have our first game.
Yeah!
And the weirdest thing is they've replaced pom-poms with peacock feather clutches?
No, pigeon feather.
Pigeon feathers?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pigeon feathers. Is that not the
No,
most...
it's peacock feathers.
I thought it was pigeon.
I was like, that'd be kind of grody, but okay. No, it's peacock feathers.
Oh, thank God. I thought it was pigeon the whole time.
That's so funny. But yeah, they have these weird peacock feather clutches that they're using for their cheers. And a moment of silence for these horrid cheers that they recite.
Okay.
Wow.
Once again, I gotta bring up the Dempsey Africa cheer because I don't know how many times they're gonna bring up the fact that he's from Africa, but it goes, Dempsey learned soccer in Africa. He's king of the field. Rah, rah, rah. Dempsey learned soccer in Africa. He's king of the field. Rah, rah, rah. You get the point. You get the point. They really want to drive home that Dempsey is a diverse individual.
Yeah, all of these cheers suck. The first one they ever recite is, We're sock her. We're sock her. If you're cold, say burr. If you're a cat, say purr.
Oh my God.
Pardonnez-moi, monsieur. Je m'appelle soccer. They put French in the cheer, which would not work.
Hearing you read it, because I couldn't read it in my head, is really good.
That was the best French I could do. I don't know very much. But yeah, all of their cheers are terrible.
All of them are terrible.
They're not even like fun terrible. It's almost like I kind of died a little bit inside reading them.
Exactly.
Ugh.
And this one goes a little bit tragic because I think I'm on a different game. I think I'm on the second game.
The important thing with this game is Dylan meets Darrington's sister.
And let's back up because where we left off with Derek and Dylan was that they were about to go shopping for his sister's Sweet 16.
And that scene is so cute. She pedals his bike because his ankle's too messed up.
It is really cute. And they go to this high fashion boutique that Dylan wants to bring Derek to because the sizes go down a size, so she wants to feel smaller. And I have to say that this is the most seen that I have felt in this book. I mean, besides the fact there was one ridiculous part, I think on page 45, where she's comparing herself to, oh no, it's not page 45, but she's comparing herself to the mannequin and asks if he likes the mannequin more than her, because he says she has a good look, which was crazy. But, okay, is this the one? So they get swerved, and she asks about if the mannequin's cuter than her. And she keeps just talking about how she doesn't think that Darrington can like her because she has, such a mannish build. And this, I feel so seen, because I grew up with very short, smaller friends.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm tall and lean, but... that is such a feeling of inferiority with your friends.
Well, yeah, everybody compares, you grow up in a world where you constantly aren't good enough in comparison to your friends.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
so true.
And when on page 59, and they have to switch pedaling because she has to help him with his foot, and he says, "Oh my God, he thinks I'm a man."
Yeah,
that is such a feeling.
It's such a feeling.
It hurts so much. It brought me back to middle school and feeling that way. Mm-hmm. And now obviously I know more about my gender and more about myself, but I have not empathized with any of the girls as much as I have with Dylan.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so then, but they do get Darrington's sister Sammy. They go to a dollar store and get her 16 sweet gifts for her sweet 16, and then they go share froyo, and it's real cute.
It is so cute.
But anyway, Dylan gets really insecure because she sees him with Sammy, and she doesn't know it's his sister. I've, like, been there, where you see, like, the guy you like with somebody else, and it's just like, oh, this is my, like, manager, like, my coworker, my friend, or, like, my friend's girlfriend, and you're like, oh, why was I so insecure about that?
Oh, for sure. And...
I was going to say...
Oh, no, you go.
The one quote I do want to read is when he introduces, like, this is Sammy, my sister. Dylan leaned closer to Sammy, overcome with the urge to lip kiss her, and then I'm beyond excited you're related to him, and not a potential threat, which I was like, that's the queerest we've gotten in the Clique books, on paper.
This is true. This is like...
Yes, listeners, we are drinking wine this episode. It's a special episode.
I didn't know if you were going to cut it out.
No, maybe I'll keep it in. Who knows?
I kind of think that's fun.
It's
so, in regards to the lip kissing the girls, this is the same thing that I will talk about now. When you said you had a girl crush on someone in high school, I turned out gay. You are just gay.
That's what my best friend from high school constantly had girl crushes, and I was like, I don't really, like, have tons of girl crushes. Like, I had, like, respect for a lot of, like, you know, like, YouTubers and, like, other, like, women figures, but it's, like, it was never, like, I was, like, really into, like, I wasn't as into them as she was. And then finally I remember in college when she called me being like, I think I might like girls, and I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And I was like, and she's like, that's it. And I was like, okay.
I must say, though, for Dylan right now, Derek is a good placeholder.
Oh, and this is really cute because she goes, yeah, thanks for the gifts. You know, you said me and my future girlfriend got them for me. And then she leaves, and then Dylan goes, so I'm your future girlfriend. He goes, no, you're my current girlfriend.
I thought it was so cute.
And this moment is so short-lived because they kiss, but Alicia's ready to blackmail them. She's had a photo taken of it, sends it to Dylan, being like, oops.
Really pissed off. So we go to the next Friday night sleepover at Massie's, and they play this kind of truth or dare, and Alicia's holding it over her head.
Oh, no, and, like, this game that they play is really problematic. It's like a weird body-shaming have or have-not game, where if you have done something, you get to eat popcorn and stay skinny, but if you have not done something, you have to eat a cinnamon roll and get fat. Yeah. Like, that is the rule, and I had a lot of issues with that.
I didn't like that.
But we find out that, you know, Alicia starts teasing Darrington has a crush on somebody else, and Massie gets pissed.
Massie gets mad because she's marked him with the Chanel number 19.
And Massie threatens to find this girl and put crazy glue in her lip gloss. And Dylan's like, oh my god, what have I done?
Yeah, Dylan's stressed out because Massie has a new crush, so any normally well-adjusted person would be like, oh, well, you know what? My friend can do this with my ex, I guess, that I only kissed twice and didn't even call him by his name.
Remember that time I fell asleep next to him for 5 hours because I was too afraid to talk to him? God, Massie, you suck.
That was so funny. And so the next day, they're all at Rye Playland.
Yeah, they go to an amusement park.
Because Dempsey's like, all right, my parents, even though we live in this apartment, we're not poor. Gee, hell, God forbid
we
we're poor.
love the essence of the African lifestyle. We lived in Africa, because I lived there for a short time, but we're loaded still.
But we're loaded, so they, like, rent out Rye Playland for a day, essentially.
And Kristen ends up following, like, Dempsey, Massie, and Lane around with Dune. And it's just, like, I feel so bad for Kristen. Just, she's so stuck in the middle of this.
And as two people who get, like, anxiety, we just want all our friends to be happy.
I just want
everyone to have a good time when they're over. Kristen's anxiety.
It's like, I can feel it through these pages.
Yes. And the first ride that they go on is the Dragon Coaster, and both Massie and Lane are fighting for a seat next to Dempsey.
Massie literally pulls Lane out of the car and then slams the bar down so she can sit next to Dempsey.
But to counter this, Lane vomits on Massie while the ride is in motion.
This, like, the amusement park scene is very quick, but so much happens. Oh my god. But then because Lane has thrown up on Dempsey, she gets a free ride.
Which
doesn't make sense.
No.
But
you wouldn't want someone who got sick to get enough because, they're going to vomit again.
And also, a big thing in this book is that, like, Kristen keeps making, like, excuses as to why she likes Dune, not acknowledging that she likes Dempsey instead, which I honestly felt, like, the most relatable, because, like, I've dated so many guys which are, like, nice enough, and I make excuses for, like, why I like them, or it's just, like, I'll just be like, oh, I just, like, you know, it's just, like, we have a fine relationship, I just, like, don't like really holding his hand or like sleeping next to him or like kissing him that much. But like it's like we're like together. It's like he's into me and that's what's important and like this is cute. I'm into him and that's just what this relationship looks like. And I do stuff like that and like I felt like that plot line with Kristen was so relatable because I know a lot of women who do shit like that.
Especially as an adult, it's more filling a feeling of loneliness. But as a middle schooler, it's kind of filling status, you know?
Yeah.
Because when you have a boyfriend in middle school, like, you have a boyfriend. People respect you. Which is wild, but is true. But, yes, she does like Dempsey. And at this time, too, while Ride Dryland is going on, the two normal couples, Cam and Claire and Alicia and Josh go off, and Derek and Dylan go off. They go to, like, this gravity weightless thing.
Like, how cute. They get to just, like, since nobody's paying attention to them, they just get to, like, spend the day together in this amusement park. And I was, like, kind of in love with it.
And this is when I started really liking Darrington, because the next day, they are texting each other, and Dylan feels really bad because Massie still has this fucking non-existent hold.
Yeah. But Dylan's a ride or die. Let's not forget.
And she texts Derek, and I would always be so nervous about this kind of response where you're like, you know it's stupid. You're like, my friend has a hold on you. It's crazy. But he immediately, like, finds a way. He's like, no, I found a way that we can be together without even being like, you should be your own person.
Yeah.
You shouldn't let anyone tell you what to do.
He's so supportive that Dylan is still friends with Massie, even though he doesn't like Massie.
It warmed my heart.
Yeah, like, that's mature. That's weirdly, insanely mature.
The guys are just, it's the same with Josh in the last book. They're so supportive, and they don't make girls do the sides thing.
Oh my gosh. But then they hatch a plan that they're just going to get detention as many times as possible.
Cute.
And it just keeps failing.
I know.
I was reading all of their attempts being like, please, something work. And then they start this food fight and get into a 3-way detention with them two and Massie, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
It is true. And so during this detention, Dylan and Derek kind of have vibes, and Massie kind of picks up on it, and this is literally the meanest thing, in my personal opinion, she has said to anyone. And Massie turns to Dylan and says, I'd almost think it was you if he was, you know, into that sort of thing. And she said, into what sort of thing? And Massie goes, triple B's, big boned betas.
Bad.
Mean.
So, not even like a, no, there's no coming back from that.
No.
Like, that's just terrible. Massie's a shit friend.
And thank fucking God, in the next chapter they have the soccer game and all of her fears are confirmed. Derek is smiling and waving at Dylan, and she's like, oh, this must be a thing. Which is good.
Yeah,
Fuck
good.
you, Massie.
Fuck you, Massie. Like, literally, you're so fucking insecure. But at this game, there's more terrible cheers. Dempsey breaks his ankle because Massie and Alicia get into a fight about the cheers. And so Massie, like, accidentally, like, falls onto the field and trips over her.
And remember that 2-pound hair extension we were talking about? That's what he trips over.
Oh, that's what he trips on, you're right.
And gets an ankle fracture over.
But yeah, Lane quits the cheerleading team because Dempsey's ankle is broken, which leads into this chaos of a scene where Kristen, Dune's following Kristen home so he can get help with, like, his homework so they can hang out. But then Lane bursts in with a gift being like, oh, can I just, like, wait here? But Dempsey's in the hospital, but he'll be back soon, and then I'm just going to give him this gift, and then I'm going to leave it. And, like, Kristen's like, I'm not really supposed to have people over. Like, Mom's making dinner. But that's, like, fine. Like, just, like, be quiet. We're just, like, working. Like, we're just going to be doing homework. And then Massie comes in being like, hey, Kristen. And this is when we find out the most psychotic thing Massie does.
Yes.
She copies her friends' keys to their homes for emergencies.
But to be fair, when she brings up the fact that it's an emergency and Kristen says, how did you get a key to my house? She says, it's not a house. Yeah.
God, Massie sucks.
Massie
like,
sucks.
I don't know how to, like, say that in, like, any other way other than, like, fuck Massie.
And this is, once again, where Dune comes in clutch. He's a little bit mad at Kristen because Kristen lost his shark tooth necklace. And it's later revealed that Lane is wearing it because she found it. But Dune unassumingly admits that Lane and Kristen have been hanging out all summer and they're best friends.
That's true.
And Massie storms out, but honestly, it had to come out, and Massie's not good to her.
Honestly, like, I really felt for, like, Kristen in this scene because both Lane and Massie were being so unfair to Kristen.
Yeah.
Like, Lane literally says, I'm not giving you this shark tooth necklace back until you make Dempsey like me. And it's just like, she can't do that.
She can't do that.
Jesus Christ. And also Dune calls Massie assy instead, which I was like, hell yeah, dunk on her, bro.
Yeah. So, as we have probably guessed, Massie's upset about this, so she's gonna talk to all of the rest of her friends, and first friend she reaches out to is Alicia. And Alicia says she has homework, but she does not have homework, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Massie drives to her house, and, like, goes to, like, the door, and...
Unannounced.
Yeah, and Mr. Rivera's like, oh, she is, like, dance rehearsal, like, so she's busy. Massie's like, okay, but Massie, of course, has a key to their dance studio, so goes around the house to the dance studio and hears music inside, and then she knocks on the door, and then all the music stops, and she goes, oh my god, this is a surprise party with me, which, like, honestly, Massie, embarrassing, you don't deserve a surprise party. And then she opens the door and finds out that Alicia started a new soccer team called the Heartnets, because she's a better dancer than Massie. And offers Massie, like, co-captain, and Massie gets pissed.
What a slap in the face to Massie. I love it. So, we got Kristen, X'd. We have Alicia, X'd. Next one on the list, Dylan. And this is, I have to say, Dylan and her mom, that scene where, like, her mom's singing a Loathe and she's, like, talking to her.
Yeah.
Very endearing.
Really good.
So, Dylan is texting Derek, and Derek wants to go on a date on Friday, but that's Massie's sleepover night. So Dylan doesn't know what to do, so she asks her mom for advice, and her mom says something that honestly was so precious. And she says, a good friend wouldn't intimidate you, and a good guy wouldn't pressure you.
That's true.
I know!
That's so true, and that's good advice.
And Dylan's like, okay, I'm going to consider this.
And Kristen takes, like, control, and then we come back to Kristen, and she's like, I'm going to take this into my own hands. I'm just going to find out who Dempsey likes to, like, get this weight off of my shoulders. I love this because they're in the elevator going down, and she stops the elevator in the building to ask them.
That's hot.
And the doorman, like, buzzes, like, the intercom being like, are you two okay? And Kristen's like, uh-huh. And he's like, cool, we're like, fire department's on their way, we're going to get you guys out. And she's like, uh-huh. And so she's like, Dempsey, okay, let's play a game. And he's like, you stopped the elevator for a game? Okay. And it's like, who would you rather kiss? And so she starts with, like, two celebrities. And she goes, okay, one last question. Let me think. And I loved that she was teasing it. And then she goes, would you rather kiss Lane or Massie? And he gets really nervous. And he says, you. And then the elevator opens and Dune's standing outside.
With flowers.
Oh my god. I was like, oh no!
I can't wait for the next book. But Dune didn't hear any of it.
No.
And Dempsey's kind of like sadly waiting for a response. And
Kristen decides to fake food poisoning and just runs back upstairs.
A bold move.
A bold move, and honestly, I respect it.
And, I mean, Dempsey's a fine guy. I think he's good. But, like, also, expecting a response when her boyfriend Ish is standing right there, you know you're going to have to talk about it later.
Yeah.
You're going to have to talk about it later.
You will.
So, this is all going on, and after this, Kristen is like, you know what, I'm going to send out an apology to Dune, Lane, and Massie, because I lied to Dune about the shark tooth thing. Lane and Massie, whatever bullshit they're going through.
Yeah.
And during this time, Massie's kind of having her zen moment at home. She's listening to her little manipulative audiobooks on how to make people like her. And she sends out an email that starts with, I understand and forgive you, as the opening. Without addressing the fact she's been such a bitch to these people.
You've been terrible. Oh my god. But she's like, the slumber party's still on. Like, come if you want to, like, work on things. And Massie's, like, realizing, like, she's just, like,
they keep calling her Lycra because she just has no, like, elasticity to her. Like, she's just so smothering towards her friends.
And she makes this list when she realizes her friends aren't really showing up, which I didn't know the elastic thing. But it was like, should I be elastic and, like, kind of compromise and bend to what my friends want? And she just wrote no on the list.
Because she's a brat.
She's a brat.
But the first person to show up to the sleepover is Dylan. And surprise, she brought Darrington. Because, like her mom said, a boy isn't going to make her, like, neither should make her choose. And Darrington's supportive. And Dylan just goes up saying, like, Massie, you're going to lease the hold on Darrington.
Exactly. And I don't know what any of the fashion things that they're talking about is. But Dylan calls her out and says that she's, I don't know, cheap. What is a chenille? Chenille? Chenille.
Chenille.
Chenille?
I think.
What is that?
It's just a fabric.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, you know, the elastic thing, she says that. And Dylan says that Massie holds everyone back. And she said, you're control top pantyhose. You try to run everyone's life and keep all of us down so you can stay on top. And then she says, and then Massie tries to interject and she says, oh yeah? Then why wouldn't you let Alicia help choreography? She's a much better dancer than you, and why wouldn't you let us have friends outside the PC? And why won't you lift the hold on Derek? And Massie giggles and says Derek, and he says, yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
She wasn't calling him by his name.
No.
I really love Dylan in this moment.
Yeah, no, and then Massie pushes Derek into the pool, but then she pushes Dylan in the pool too and goes, fine, you're both free. Like, I don't want anything to do with either of you. And it's just like, and then it's honestly really cute because, like, Dylan's really upset, and Derek is just like, and then, like, Dylan's like, why can't I have just, like, my friends and my boyfriend? And he goes, well, maybe I'm, like, all you need right now. And it was just, like, really cute.
It was really sweet.
He was so supportive, where it's just, like, he never was just, like, well, this was he never bashed her for trying. And I love that, because I feel like so many guys do shit like that.
And obviously no one else comes.
Yeah.
Claire ends up coming with Cam, and Massie realizes that she needs to pick a new clique. And that's kind of where it ends, but before we end it, I really have to read this because it's the most psychotic insight into Massie's behavior, and I think really informs the 8 books prior. It wasn't like Massie didn't feel heartbroken over her social expiration. She did. Her heart felt like a lone helium balloon drifting endlessly with nothing to anchor it, and it wasn't like she didn't want to be a good friend. She did. It was the most important role in her life. She just didn't want to change who she was to do it, and who she was controlling. And for years, the girls had wanted that. They needed it. They'd looked to her for it. She'd given them structure, confidence, social counseling, a place to belong and people to belong to. And up until now, no one had complained.
Massie's a fascist.
Massie is literally
Massie's a pretty committee, more like fascist committee. Am I right or am I right?
So I guess that's where P.S. I Loathe You
leaves it. We're gonna see what happens on Monday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fuck Massie.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So we're doing a list for our top 5s that we do to cap every episode. And this is one we wanted to do for, I think, maybe 2 books. But we are ranking which girl would win in a cage match.
Yes. And this is the girl who would take all in a cage match. Starting with number 5, this is who would lose. Or we're going from losers to winners here. Massie. Massie's a big loser.
Absolutely.
My reasoning is that she's all bark, no bite. She's a wordsmith. She can't do anything physically.
And my reason is because she is a frail little brunette girl. I could break her over my knee.
Both solid reasons on our part.
Number 4, we have Alicia.
Yeah. My reasoning that Alicia would lose this cage match, or it would be hard for her to win, is that she can't run, so I don't imagine her physical prowess with, like, punches would also translate.
And my reason is that her boobs would get in the way.
Yep.
She wouldn't be able to see where she's
They're
going.
so big. We didn't really get much of her boob talk in this book, though.
This is the first no boob talk book.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit, but not noticeable enough.
We'll make sure to make that disclaimer if you like the boob talk, that this one has none at the top.
Yeah, if you're looking for a book with lots of boobs in it, this is not the one.
This is not the one.
Skip book 10.
Alright, number 3 for winning a cage match, most likely, we have Claire. And I said it was because she had some bite in the first books.
Yeah.
Before she met Cam.
Yeah, I agree. She stands up for herself a lot. I said she has a younger brother, which I think gives her a leg up on
absolutely.
on fights, on physical fights.
Yeah. Number 2, drum roll please. We have Kristen.
Uh-oh.
She's the captain of the Tomahawks.
She's a great athlete. I agree.
Yeah.
Also, a hot reason, and an important one here. Worst relationship with her parents. They're so smothering and controlling that she probably has a lot of pent-up aggression that in a cage, when asked to let something like that out, it would just be over.
Yeah, her mom is really shitty to her.
Yeah.
And number 1,
Dylan. It has to be Dylan, and I think some of you might be thinking, like, wouldn't it be Kristen? But hear us out, listeners.
Hear us out.
My big reasoning is I think Dylan has constantly, in her life, been told or felt that she has something to prove. So now when she's in a place where she can let all of that emotion out, destroyed anyone.
Absolutely. And I think, maybe I'm projecting, but I think she's a broad-shouldered person, and she wouldn't be afraid of a fight.
No.
I think she's physically the most fit to be, like, an MMA fighter.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
But let's put that in, like, the subplots we would want, but we'll never get.
Dylan is an MMA fighter.
Dylan is an MMA fighter.
Oh my god. I want to write fan fiction about it.
We need to write fan fiction for this.
Okay, and to cap every episode, we always have our State of the Union.
Just like Massie does in her Palm Pilot, we're doing it for you, our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our first in this episode is going to be Kristen and Dylan. I loved both of their plots so much.
I really did too. I think that it captures, honestly, our individual personalities the best.
Exactly. I feel like this was the most relatable. This was the most, like, I had fun reading this book. I had a lot of fun. There was no part of this book that I was like, rolled my eyes and was like, oh my god, yeah.
They're insecure. I mean, Kristen's more calm. But my thing with Dylan is she is insecure, but she's her own person. It doesn't feel like anyone up until these books needed to fill it.
Yeah. And
she already, like, puts up the walls when Darrington's trying to come in, and she's like, I've had to rely on myself. Yeah. It's me. And I was like, oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, and that means our out is going to be Massie, Claire, and Alicia. Boring, exhausted, overdone, overdrawn.
I know.
Yeah, pay your fees and get out.
I can't wait for Dempsey and Kristen to be together. They better be.
So excited. I really hope they are.
Okay, so our out on the next one is putting your friends in the middle of things.
Oh my god, don't do it.
If Lane is as good of a friend as she says she is, don't blackmail Kristen.
And Massie's a terrible friend and will put people in the middle of shit so she doesn't have to be responsible. Absolutely. Which is immature and stupid.
And our in, to counter that one, is clearly communicating your needs to people directly.
Yeah, don't do things for yourself. Don't rely on other people to solve your shit.
See a psychologist.
Or a therapist. Or talk to, like, a trusted adult.
Exactly. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with
mesothelioma, you might be entitled for compensation. Anyway, our last out is, the Sockers and the Hartnets. Who cheers for a soccer team? Never seen it in my life.
What the fuck is a knee-length moccasin?
Also,
buy a gun.
Alicia's uniforms are denim shorts and Ralph Lauren button-downs, which, like, also better than whatever Massie's thing was, but still not great.
Not great.
What's going to be in is put this, again, in the list of subplots that Meggie and I would love, but we'll never get. The Wizard of Claus. What is it about? I want to know. We're not going to see it.
And maybe it's because we love Christmas, but we need to see the mashup of The Wizard of Oz and Christmas.
I would love that. I want that. I want a book that's just the screenplay to The Wizard of Claus.
I mean, your other podcast, you guys just wrote a whole Candyland movie.
Oh my god, we could.
You could!
Oh my gosh. Quick insert to listen to Please Make This on anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, maybe Laura and I will write The Wizard of Claus.
Pause and read it on there. You'll never know unless you start listening. But I think that's it for this episode.
I agree.
Oh my gosh. This has been us, Meggie and Laura, the best friends who have been reading young adult novels from our past. We are going to move on to the 11th book in the Clique series. Mm-hmm. Boys Are Us.
Boys Are Us?
I'm so excited. Oh my god, we're so close to being done with this series.
I know. And guys, we have a bomb fucking book chosen for season 2. Our next
oh my
season.
God, guys, get excited for season 2 because we're already thinking about it and we hope you are too.
But we're not going to say it right now.
No.
What we are going to ask you to do is open up Instagram on your phone and type in @Meggie_and_Laura and click follow, because it's possible we'll probably follow you back because we love community. We just love, talking to people. Talk to us, DM us, email us. We're pretty much on all social medias @Meggie and Laura. Make sure you're following, subscribing, rating, reviewing, texting a friend from your current, past, or future about Y'all We Read It, because we're so happy that you're listening to this with us, and we would love for you to be excited about it and tell a friend about it. That would make us so happy. We'd be so appreciative.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think we're done for this episode. Oh my god. All right, well, we'll see you for Book 11. Boys Are Us. Bye.